Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Verona News, and we are broadcasting live from Verona City. This is Valia speaking, the news anchor of today's news. And as first day new, I'm going to report to all of you one of the trending topic, which is about the traumatic combat between the two men that led to the miserable fight between the kinmen of the Prince Verona, which is Mercutio, and the relative of the captured, which is Thibault. And I have also been informed that this confrontation did not only occur between Mercutio and Thibault alone. It is also involved between the families of the Capulets and the Montague. So, however, in order to dig up into more detail and the story behind this bad blood, let us get to hear it from the witness who was there at the scene, Mr. Benvolio. Welcome, Mr. Benvolio, to the news. Let us start up by asking some questions which are related to the death of the two men. Alright, so my first question is, Mr. Benvolio, can you briefly describe about the situation that you have witnessed with your eye at the scene?
Actually, I don't want to talk about it because I just lost a friend of mine and I am really sad about it. But I will share some information regarding to the death of the two men. At first, Mercutio and I were in search of Romeo, and we tried our best not to encounter the Capulet men. However, Thibault appeared out of nowhere and threatened us about killing Romeo. Mercutio was annoyed and started to provoke Thibault. When Romeo joined the scene, Thibault wanted Romeo to draw a sword and have a duel with him, but Mercutio was the one that got into a fight in Romeo's place. No matter how much me and Romeo tried to stop them, it was not possible for us to end the fight. Unfortunately, Mercutio was defeated by Thibault's sword. Seeing Mercutio was innocently killed, Romeo was hot-headed and rushed to avenge for Mercutio. At the end, Romeo was successfully killed Thibault and fled away.
That sounds terrible and incredible. But may I know exactly why did they start their fight scene at the first place, and what is the exact cause that led to the feud between the two men?
Well, the two families had been the enemies for many generations, although the exact cause has been forgotten. They just had grudge toward each other and they just couldn't bear with each family existence. And so, one day, Romeo, who is the son of the Montagues, secretly joined a feast party uninvited at the Capulet house. Knowing so, Thibault, the relative of the Capulet house, was not happy and wanted to start a bloodshed. Thibault intentionally killed Mercutio, but Romeo killed Thibault back just to revenge for his beloved friend Mercutio. Well, I guess that's the information that I can share with you. So thank you for having me here today.
The causes seem so perplexing, and any one of us cannot come into conclusion whether about who is right or who is wrong, who we should blame. But alright, so to briefly analyze the issues of this feud, let us welcome our two analysts, which is Mr. Kalim and Mr. T, who have been specially invited to talk and sort out this issue.
Thanks for having me as an analyst.
Yes, it is my honor to be here talking to you too.
Thanks to both of you for sparing some of your precious time to be here with me talking about the causes of the death. Alright, so let me begin with Mr. Kalim. Mr. Kalim, what is your opinion regarding this issue?
Well, the issue seems to be confusing and it is need much more time to investigate and solve. However, we can say that the two young men are really immature and their blood was still cold and they don't know what is right and what is wrong. And I think the intention of Romeo is just to get revenge at Tibor for killing his best friend, and we all agree that Tibor was guilty and he deserved the punishment for what he have done to Mercutio. But the thing is that Romeo is not the one who's designed, but the prince. So without doing anything unnecessary, so Romeo shouldn't get revenge at a T-boy. However, he did it because he is so young, so naive, and without thinking carefully or even listening to the Benvolio. So he decided to confront Tibor face to face and immediately get to fight and lead to this problem.
And what about you, Mr. T? What is your perspective on this tragic event that had just occurred?
So for me, I neither blame Romeo nor Tibal for the such tragedy when it just happened. The two young men were both raised with such hatred for each other by their respective family. Everyone in Verona knows about the long history of the dispute between these two families, the Montague and the Capulet. These two families cannot stand each other at all, and they are always on the verge of a fight, and they had been going at each other for decades, causing Verona chaos and problem all over again and again. And regardless of these two deaths, I blame both families for the loss of these two young men, a son of Capulet and Mercutio, who wasn't even a part of the two houses, but died as a result of the feud. The two family hatred for each other cost them both the most important thing to them. If the family could have just let the anger or their hatred go, none of these things would have happened. T-Ball would have still alive and Romeo wouldn't have lost his closest friend. These are my thoughts regardless of these issue.
Thanks to both of you for your honest opinion. And now I would like to move on to the next questions, which is, so I wanted to know what is your perspective? How should we punish Romeo? By exiling him, or should we just forgive and forget about this fight between Tybalt and Mercutio?
In my opinion, Romeo should be punished, but because he wasn't at the age of 18 yet, so we cannot put him in debt or he cannot be executed. Instead, we just punish them, like sending him away from the Verona. Similarly, I got a best idea that we don't need to send him away from the Verona, but instead we can use him as a military because he has a good skill at fighting. So why not? Why not keep him in Verona and train him as a military, as an army, so he can protect the country and also he can get more educated at the same time.
Well, I think I have to agree with Kalim. I think the perfect punishment for Romeo as of now is to banish him away from Verona or get him to join the military base of Verona because he, as Kalim said, has a good fighting skill and having a good combat skill. Also getting him to join the military base might help him get more understanding. It will make him a little bit more tough and it could get him to understand the deep definition of what being adult is. Also, I think after we banish Romeo away from Verona, we should also get the two noble family, the Montague and the Capulet, to make up with each other. We need their feud, their stupid feud, to be over because everybody cannot afford to handle chaos or trouble that this stupid feud will create next. I think the best, like, to stop the chaos or to prevent all the bad things from happening in Verona is to get these two family make up with each other, like make peace with each other. It is the best thing we can do right now. Thank you. That is my thought.
That is such a great analysis from Mr. Kalim and Mr. T, and thank you so much to both of you for coming here with me. And to our audience, we warn that these are just their perspective. So to see how Prince Verona punished Romeo, we will all have to wait and see. Alright, so since we are running out of time, let me end this new here. And yeah, thank you so much for spending some times to watch our breaking news. Thank you.